The spear does not shatter. It evaporates. One moment. It is a meter of fire-hardened wood. A point of sharpened flint held in the grip of the clan's strongest hunter. Oyen. The next. It is a puff of splinters against a living wall of bone and scoot. The sound is a flat, dead thump, absorbed entirely by the creature's carapace. The GLYPT Odon does not flinch. It continues its slow, inexorable path across the pampa, a walking hill of impenetrable armor, indifferent to the chattering bites dancing at its flanks. This is the third spear lost this way. Oyen stares at his empty, stinging helms, a look of disbelief hardening into fury on his face. He is the one who breaks bones, not the other way around. The other hunters circle, a fluid, desperate constellation of muscle and fear. Their calls are sharp, clipped signals meant to coordinate an attack on a beast that offers no purchase. They dart in, jab at the fortress-like shell, and leap back before the tail. A club of fused bone capable of shattering a thigh can swing in a low, whistling arc. The animal is a masterpiece of defense, a product of millennia of evolution perfecting the art of being uncannibal. For these early humans, it is a cruel joke of nature, a mountain of meat, fat, and marrow, protected by a shield they cannot break, a lock they cannot pick. The sheer absurdity of it breeds a dangerous frustration. Younger hunters, eager to prove their worth, take risks. One veers too close, his spear finding no flesh, only the seamless stone. The GLYPT Odon, in a motion too quick for its bulk, shifts its weight. It doesn't attack, it simply moves. The hunter stumbles, falling into the path of its immense, clawed feet. He rolls away just as a foot descends, the ground shuddering with the impact. Terror flashes in his eyes. It is then the leader. An older man named Bior gives the signal. Below, guttural call that cuts through the wind and the panicked shouts. It is a sound of finality. Enough. The hunt is over. To continue is to sacrifice lives for a prize they cannot claim. The retreat is a silent, bitter affair. They are not defeated in glorious combat. They are dismissed, rendered irrelevant by a creature that barely acknowledges their existence. They are a nuisance, nothing more. This is the brutal reality of prehistoric life, a constant negotiation with a world that does not care if they live or die. They carry their bruised bodies and broken spirits back toward the rock shelter that is their only claim on this vast, open land. The GLYPT Odon, one of the great Pleistocene megafauna, continues its placid grazing, already forgetting them. The wind erases their tracks. In the silence of their failure, the gnawing emptiness in their bellies feels heavier than any wound. Back in the overhang of weathered rock, the clan licks its wound. The air is thick with the smell of old smoke, damp earth, and failure. Oyen's knuckles are raw, not from the hunt, but from striking the cave wall in silent, impotent rage. Bior sits apart, his gaze lost in the embers of a dying fire. The lines on his face carved deeper by the weight of leadership. They have a little dried meat, a few four-aged roots, but it is not enough. The hunger is a quiet predator inside the shelter, stalking them all. The young hunter who fell now lies with his leg bound in leaves and clay. His fevered groans a constant reminder of the price of their ambition. This is the precarious existence of these ancient humans. Survival is a fragile membrane, easily punctured. But one mind is not on the wounds or the hunger, kills it away from the others. His hands not idle with anger, but carefully napping a flint point. His movements are economical, precise. He is smaller than Oyen. His strength not in the explosive power of muscle, but in the unnerving stillness of his gaze. He saw the hunt, not as a flurry of spears, but as a series of failed equations. He felt the thump of the splintered wood not as a defeat, but as data. While the others rest, he slips away from the shelter, a lone figure moving against the vast, indifferent landscape. He carries no spear. His only tool is his attention. He finds the GLYPTO easily. A creature that large leads a trail like a river of crushed grass. He does not approach. He finds a high vantage point, a cluster of boulders downwind, and settles in to watch. The sun crawls across the sky. The behemoth grazes, its massive head swinging low. It drinks from a shallow stream, its armored body creating a temporary dam. Kale watches it all. He is not tracking prey. He is deconstructing a machine. He notes how it responds to the cry of a bird, the rustle of wind in the tall grass. The head never swivels. The eyes, small and dark, are fixed within their bony sockets. When a sound comes from the side, the entire creature must perform a slow, ponderous pivot, planting its heavy feet to turn its whole body. It is a fortress, yes, but it is a fortress that can only face one direction at a time. A flicker of an idea, dangerous and profound, ignites in Kayla's mind. This is a quiet, critical moment in the long arc of hominid history. The dawning of a thought that will change everything. The body's limitations can be turned into a weapon. He spends the rest of the day testing the theory. He throws a rock to the creature's far left. The GLYPTO arm pauses its grazing, and with a series of heavy steps, turns its entire mass to face the sound. As it completes its turn, Kale, from his hiding spot, lets out a sharp cry to its right. Again, the beast must stop, plant its feet, and execute the same laborious pivot in the opposite direction. It cannot simply look. It must commit its entire body to the act of seeing. In that pivot, in that commitment, there is a moment of predictability, a moment of blindness. Kale watches the beast, and for the first time, he does not see an unkillable monster. He sees a pattern. He sees a seam, not in the armor, but in the animal's very nature. He now carries a secret back to the clan, a piece of knowledge far sharper than any flint point. The challenge will be convincing them that the way to kill the beast is not to attack it, but to dance with it. He returns not with the swagger of a successful hunter, but with the quiet intensity of a man who has seen the inner workings of a puzzle. He uses no words at first. In the dust before the fire, he draws the shape of the GLYPTO dome with a charred stick. A perfect, solid dome. The others watch, their curiosity piqued by the strangeness of the act. He engulfs, turning his back. He sees this as the rambling of a man unhinged by failure. But BOR, the leader, watches Kayla's hands. He sees purpose there. Kale then draws a stick figure, a hunter, before the dome. He scratches a line from the hunter to the impenetrable shell. Then he snaps the stick. A murmur ripples through the clan. They understand this image all too well. Then Kale does something different. He rubs out the stick figure and draws it again. This time to the side. He looks up, meeting Boar's eyes, and lets out a sharp, piercing cry as the sound echoes off the rock. His hand mimics the GLYPTO Don's slow, cumbersome pivot. He traces the arc of its turn in the dust. Then, with his other hand, he stabs the stick into the drawing at the point where the creature's flank would be exposed. Unprotected, for the briefest of moments, he leaves the stick quivering in the dust. Silent, the clan stares at the simple, brutal diagram. It is a plan born not of muscle, but of mind. It is a form of primitive technology, an idea as potent as the discovery of fire. The skepticism, however, is a thick rule. To stand before the beast, to invite its attention, is to embrace death. It is a violation of every instinct. It is Oen who finally speaks, his voice thick with contempt. You want one of us to be the bait. To dance for the beast while it decides how to kill us. This is a coward's trick. Kale meets his glare. A coward's trick is to starve when there is food. This requires more courage than a blind charge. The tension is a living thing between them. It is BOR who decides. He sees the gnawing hunger in the faces of the children, the fever in the wounded hunter's eyes. Their current path leads only to slow extinction. He taps Oen on the chest, then points to two of the fastest hunters. Then he points to Kale. His meaning is clear. They will try it. The dance begins at dawn. The air is cold. The grass wet with dew. They find the GLYPTO dawn in a shallow basin, a living mountain wreathed in mist. Oyen stands alone in the open, spear held loosely at his side. He is the focus, the sacrifice. The other two hunters are hidden. Silent shadows in the tall grass on the creature's flank. Kale is positioned farther away. The conductor of this terrifying symphony. Oyen's heart hammers against his ribs. Every fiber of his being screams at him to charge or to run. He holds his ground. He must trust Kale. He must trust the clan. This is the ultimate test. An act of altruism that defines their evolution as a community. Kale gives the signal. The short cry. The GLYPTO Dawn's head lifts. It sees Oyen. Alone. Defiant figure. It begins its slow turn. A battleship coming about. As its armored side begins to face him, Kayla's second signal rings out from the opposite direction, where the hidden hunters lie. The beast is confused. It pauses its turn toward Oyen to begin the laborious pivot toward the new sound. For a heartbeat, its softer underbelly and the vulnerable joint of its leg are exposed. Now, the hunters explode from the grass, their spears driving deep into the seam. A terrible, shrieking bellow echoes across the pampa. The fortress is breached. The fall of the GLYPTO Dawn is not a moment of roaring triumph, but of stunned silence. The clan gathers around the fallen behemoth, a creature they had considered a god or a demon, now reduced to meat and bone. They touch the armored plates not with arrogance, but with a new kind of understanding. The most powerful tool they possess is not the sharpened flint in their hands, but the shared thought that moves between them. This hunt was a turning point in the long, unwritten hominid history, a profound shift from individual might to collective strategy. The trust Oyen placed in Kayla's vision was a greater leap than any physical feat. It was the birth of a complex social contract, an unspoken agreement that the survival of the many could depend on the insight of one and the courage of all. This is the blueprint that echoes down through countless generations of human ancestors. The ability to see the world not just as it is, but as a system of patterns and weaknesses, and to communicate that vision to others, is the essence of our species' improbable journey. Their victory is not just over a single beast, but over their own limitations, a discovery that the greatest fortress can be undone by a single, perfectly understood flaw. We are the children of the quiet observers and the brave dancers, the inheritors of the first fragile spark of strategy. We chronicle their choices, for in their struggles, we find the very architecture of our own minds. The fire of invention, once lit, casts a very long shadow.